Representative Jones, while we're in recess, for Mr. Winters.
No, sir. Mr. Chairman, I wanted to hear from Bruce Opie, and I wanted to ask Representative Campfield, I guess, I mean, he's saying that his board members are passing resolutions that that support homosexuality. That's what you're saying your board members are doing down there?
I'm sorry.
Now just a second. Do we need to ask, you want to ask Representative Campfield that, or while we're in recess, did you want
I'd like to hear from
Dr. Opie?
Dr. Opie.
Representative Campfield, we'll get back to you just a second.
I'm Bruce Opie with the Tennessee Department of Education. The grades K through 8 family life curriculum, which is a component of our health curriculum, only addresses any sort of sexual activity in the context of abstinence and the avoiding of any sort of STD, and I think it's not until the upper 6th to 8th grade does it even address abstinence of sexual activity as to not have an unwanted pregnancy. There is nothing in that curriculum that is a how-to guide or talks about sexual preference. It's only in the context of abstinence, and that being the only sure way to avoid STDs or unwanted pregnancies. Now, at the high school level, they get a little bit more involved with it, but it is still not a sexual preference type curriculum. We cannot or will not try to look in every classroom in the state. We would not have the resources available to us to be checking up. That's something that the local board does. And I would say to Representative Campfield, if Knox County's got a problem, they're the ones to fix it. And on this, what he mentioned about the conference, I believe that was quite a few years ago, and it was in the context of disciplinary action and school safety. It was not in the context of promoting any sort of lifestyle, because we were having or having problems with children being physically abused because, as what Mr. Winters said, of perceived differences. And I, too, resent any sort of implication that the Department of Education, he can pull off this stuff all day long, and he can search the website. What can you tell me, please, when that was done? The one where you said it was sponsored by the Department of Education.
Representative Campfield, if you want to answer that question now, you're recognized.
This was something that happened in 2001, first time. If you're looking about brain pop, I believe that was 2 years ago. If you look about the Knox News Sentinel talking about allowing opening up to homosexual web pages, that was in the last year. And if you look at these resolutions from the TEA and NEA, they were originally passed in 2006, and I believe they've been reaffirmed every single time. And those are right from the TEA's their own resolutions that they passed at their own convention in Orlando in 2006, and has been reaffirmed, I believe, at every convention since then.
Okay.
Can I make one other comment, Mr. Chairman? And they have nothing to do with the development of curriculum as either TEA or NEA. Obviously, we choose master teachers to come help us develop curriculum and make recommendations, but in no way does TEA or NEA, through any sort of resolution, have any influence or is binding in any way to what the department does and the State Board of Education adopts. I would say one last thing. In the family life law that has been in existence for quite a while, every school system is required every year to have a public hearing on how they take our curriculum standards and implement them at the classroom level. And parents are invited to come review the materials and look at the actual curriculum instruction that's going on. If there is a problem at the local level, I would say it needs to be handled at the local level. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. We have,
This other article is from 2010. I believe it was March 12th, 2010, talking about the teacher's workshop addressing quote-unquote gay bias, and it said it more or less was, said the training was more or less it was advocating a position. And this was from, or excuse me, Monday, March 12th, 2007, excuse me. That was from the city paper. Brain Pop, I don't have the exact date. I believe it was in the last year, though.
okay.
I can pull that up. If you want to roll this a week, I can pull that up.
Okay, let me make a suggestion. Chairman Dunn, is that okay if we end it now, or do you want to ask Doc? Okay. We're getting ready to roll this bill at the agreement with the sponsor. Instead, and Representative Campfield, I would request that instead of pulling things up off the internet, if you have instances in Knox County and Anderson County, I believe I heard you say one time, not tonight. I've not heard you say that. But if there are examples that teachers or a parent that can come in and help defend themselves or promote themselves or whatever the case may be, I would request that you ask them to come down and testify on behalf of your bill. But let's talk in facts and first person things.
If I could, those people were against my bill because they are in favor of advocating their personal position. These are people that I have given Mr. Winters. I gave him a packet of all this exact same information. I gave him copies of all this.
We can subpoena them and we can put them under oath, not to take a philosophical position for or against, but cite us examples of what's going on. And we just need to get this issue over, and we need to talk about real facts and real people. If you could do that, and
I'll give you a list of the names.
I would appreciate the opportunity to roll the bill till next week or the next meeting, whenever that may be.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Representative Campfield.